So, that blockbuster trade that went down on December 2nd was a huge fail. And don't worry, I'm gonna get to telling you why, but if you're not already subscribed, just make sure to hit that button, bro. Like, what are you doing? You don't have to wait to hit that like button because I already know you're gonna enjoy this video. So just go down there and do that good stuff down below. And let's get into this video. On Wednesday, a trade went through that sent John Wall and a first-round pick to the Rockets for Russel Westbrook. People are trying to choose winners. People are trying to choose losers. It seems like the Rockets have just been cycling through star point guards. They signed Chris Paul, then they traded him for Russel Westbrook, and now they've traded Russel Westbrook for John Wall. There's no way in their right mind they think switching point guards once again will bring them to where they want to be. That's not going to happen, and they should just face that before anything else happens. Number 2, they took on John Wall's absolutely insane contract, which I know the Wizards have been trying to get off for a while. I love John Wall as a player. Once upon a time, he was putting up 23 points per game and was an all-star. He's very shifty, he's quick, and he just breaks down defenders. But if we go back to the part where I said quick, that has a lot of flaws to it. As we know, John Wall tore his Achilles falling down his stairs. Before that, his ankle was already messed up. So he was out for about 2 years from the NBA. It's very rare to see someone that plays like John Wall come back 100%. The only time we really ever saw that from someone who plays like John Wall was Dominique Wilkins back 30 to 40 years ago. So getting John Wall was a very high risk trade. And I see no reason whatsoever why it's worth it for the Rockets to do this. Yes, they get a future first round pick, but that's not going to change their franchise around. That's not going to be as beneficial as they'd want it to be after trading Russel Westbrook. The whole situation with Westbrook just doesn't make any sense. Woj reported he demanded a trade. ESPN was going crazy. Instagram was going crazy. Russel Westbrook wants out. Russel Westbrook then comments on an ESPN post saying he doesn't want out and this is all lies. And obviously Westbrook was the one that lied, because I can guarantee you there's no way the Rockets do this if Russel Westbrook didn't request a trade and demand out of Houston. The Rockets rushed this one, and I believe they could have gotten a lot more for Russel Westbrook than a huge contract with a potentially washed player and a first round pick. If you think about it, they traded Robert Covington for some yellow sweet tarts. So that was a move that indicated they were rebuilding. But now they trade for a contract that's going to have them in a hole of salary cap shitness for years to come. So it makes no sense what direction the Rockets are going in. We don't know the situation with James Harden either. Obviously, everybody's saying he wants to go to the Nets. He requested a trade. But that's never trustworthy, even if Woj reported it. So I'm not going to talk about the James Harden situation. I'd say he stays in Houston. I just don't see how a realistic trade package would work for James Harden. Because if an NBA team trades for James Harden, they know damn well that their whole system is going to have to revolve around him. So is it worth it for some teams to do that? I don't know. And that's why teams are probably hesitant to offer the whole house for Harden. But back to the Rockets side of things for the Westbrook situation. This trade doesn't benefit their team in any way. They just made a couple rebuilding moves, and now they trade for John Wall, who's worse than Russel Westbrook and is being paid more. So they can't rebuild right now because they're stuck in salary cap craziness. And they also can't really contend, because what indicates that the addition of a washed DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall, who's worse than Russel Westbrook, will bring them to the promised land? Absolutely nothing. They got worse from last year. They got rid of Robert Covington. This trade makes no sense for the Rockets whatsoever, and that future first round pick does not make this trade valid. Now we move to the Wizards side of things. The Wizards received Russel Westbrook on Wednesday. But look, we can all agree that at this point in these star point guards' careers, Russel Westbrook is the better player. But I'm going to tell you why that has no relevance and does not matter in the slightest to the trade. When was the last time the Washington Wizards were successful with John Wall and Bradley Beal? The answer to that question is never. The latest they've gotten is to probably the second round of the playoffs, which isn't successful. Successful is a championship trophy. So they get a point guard better than John Wall to pair up with Bradley Beal. They have additions like Denny Advia, they paid Davis Bertans, but it doesn't matter how much better Russel Westbrook is than John Wall. The addition of Russel Westbrook is going to have no relevance to their playoff contention because they're not going to go far even if it all works out. Russel Westbrook and Bradley Beal is not enough to contend with the star-studded league we have today. The Wizards gave up a pick oh, this is going to take us to the promised land. No, I'm afraid to tell you it's not. Even if Russel Westbrook and Beal mesh perfectly, nothing's going to happen. You're going to probably make it to the playoffs, maybe the second round of the playoffs, but you're not going to the promised land. I wouldn't disagree if you say the Wizards won this trade, because I guess they did, because Russel Westbrook is better than John Wall, but none of that matters because none of these teams are going to be contending with their current rosters. The Wizards are still going to be stuck in debt for a while. They paid Bradley Beal. They have Russell Westbrook, who's being paid a fortune. And the Rockets are also going to be stuck in debt for a while with John Wall and James Harden. So it's not like these teams got insanely better. They're not going to be contending for a trophy with teams that consist of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Trez, Dennis Schroeder, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. That's not going to happen. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal cannot beat those kind of teams, and John Wall and James Harden cannot beat those kinds of teams. So they kind of just flopped point guards, and one of them is better than the other, but that does not matter. Anyways, guys, that's what I had to say about this trade. I just think it's not beneficial to any of the teams. If Russell Westbrook actually won it out, then sure, but still, it's a business. They should have waited till they got a better deal, because I know someone would throw them a boatload of picks, and that's what they should be doing right now. They know the cap of their roster is the Western Conference Finals, and even that is a stretch. So trading for John Wall is not going to help it. And the Wizards know that their potential is the 8th seed or the 7th seed. So getting Russell Westbrook, who's better than John Wall, is not going to change that drastically. It just doesn't really matter. None of these teams are going to be contending for a championship realistically anytime soon. So that's why this trade was kind of a fail. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to do all that good stuff down below, and I'll talk to you later.